look, this is basically like E3 for Ubisoft, so I'm expecting them to come out swinging, show us your biggest franchises, biggest IPs, gives us some big updates, and you know what? I'm ready for it. Here's my wish list for what I want to see for Ubisoft Forward next week on July 12th. First off, Far Cry 6. This one's basically a given. There's almost no way that they're not going to show this here. But I want a setting, so I want to know where it is confirmed because we've been speculating for a long time now. I want them to tease the main villain. Now, as much as I would love Vaas to come back, it looks like Giancarlo Esposito, who's most famous for playing Gus Fring in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, looks like he's going to be the main villain. And he's a pretty damn good main villain. If you've seen Breaking Bad, you know what I'm talking about. So I just want some confirmation there. And on a side note, why not both? Why not Vaas and Giancarlo as both of the villains? That would just be sick. So I want some clarification on Far Cry. Not just, oh, Far Cry 6 is coming. I want to know the setting and the main villain, and give me a release window. You don't have to give me the exact date. I get it, with COVID it's tough, but give me a window for when you think it's going to release. So early 2021, you know, something like that. I would love that. And if we're lucky, I'd like to see some gameplay, but more likely it'll be a cinematic trailer like what we're used to with Ubisoft. Up next, we've got AC Valhalla, the worst kept secret in gaming, and also I think Ubisoft's biggest game upcoming here. And at this point, to reward all the Assassin's Creed fans who've been waiting eagerly for this Viking game, which is going to kick so much ass, I want some full gameplay. Like, you know how they go through a full gameplay walkthrough with Assassin's Creed around this time? Since it's basically your E3 Ubisoft, you know, show us all the cards. Give us some cool gameplay for AC Valhalla and a release date, not a window like Far Cry. I want a full-on release date. And for this, I'd also expect it to release either end of 21, maybe November or October, coinciding with the next-gen consoles, or early 2021, so it can be a launch title or near launch title with the next-gen consoles, and it can be playable on PS4 and Xbox One for people who want to do that as well. Up next, it's my most anticipated game behind Far Cry. What the hell is happening with Watch Dogs Legion? Like, it's been delayed twice, might even be delayed a third time, who knows, but I just want a bit of clarity. So give us some new gameplay, which is basically obvious at this point. You know, show us one or two more locations around London that are really cool, and some new features, because I know this game is packed full with cool features. So show us some more of that, because I mean, we get it. We can play as basically anyone. You've showed us that a million times. Show us something else that we'd love to see, especially for Watch Dogs fans who would love to see some new cool features introduced. So show us those, and also give us a concrete release date. And I get it, that's really tough, and I'm going to be saying that for almost all these games here, but give us a release date that we can trust. And it's time. I can't think of a better time. If the game was going to release on March 6th, then now in July, you can give us a solid release date. Okay, it's not like you were, you know, in the first or second quarter of the dev cycle here. You were supposed to be finished the game and released for March 6th, so you can give us a solid release date in July, because the game is pretty well finished, and if not, it's in polish mode basically. So give us a date that we can trust. And for this one, I would also assume maybe early 2021 or end of 2020. The problem with this is if you release it too close to AC Valhalla, you got two of your biggest franchises competing against each other. Now, this might not be a problem for Ubisoft, but it also could be, so you might want to let them breathe a little bit and space them out so that players can enjoy AC Valhalla, and then as the time passes, maybe a month or at least a few weeks after Valhalla, people can pick up Watch Dogs Legion. Alright, next up we've got Rainbow Six Quarantine. Other than a small trailer, we know literally next to nothing about this game, and the Rainbow Six Siege fanbase is absolutely massive, so I guarantee you they're craving this stuff. I know it's a co-op game, but I guarantee you that 90% of the Rainbow Six fans are craving more information about this thing, and I think we're going to get it. My biggest question is, are they going to change the name because of COVID? Because that's what I'm hearing, is that it might not be called Quarantine anymore. They might change the name, which might be smart. And the game's been in the oven for a while. They've been cooking it up for a good while now, so I hope that they show us something. Because like I said, the fan base for Rainbow Six is huge and they cannot afford to not market this game properly to Rainbow Six fans, so I'm sure that we'll hear quite a bit about it. Next up, we've got Gods and Monsters. Yeah, this is that sick game that kind of crosses between Zelda Breath of the Wild and Assassin's Creed and just looks absolutely crazy great. And this one is really interesting because if you'll remember, in E3 2019, this was their like one more thing kind of announcement for gameplay, but apparently a lot has changed since then. And on Google Stadia, there was like a gameplay demo type thing that was leaked where players could actually go in, play it, and have some footage from it. But the devs kind of talked about the leak and said that a lot has changed and it's almost been overhauled in terms of gameplay and changes since E3 2019 and since the gameplay demo that was leaked. So a ton of changes were made to the game, including the name. So maybe we won't have Rainbow Six Quarantine, maybe that'll be a name change, but also Gods and Monsters, we know 100% confirmed the name is going to be different. So when they announce it, it's going to be a totally new name. And they did mention, the devs did, that it's going to be talked about more this summer in 2020, but probably not at Ubisoft Forward. So I'm mentioning this one because, again, it's a wish list. It's something that I'd love to see because this game has really piqued my interest. But don't get your hopes up that this one's going to be talked about at Ubisoft Forward. So yeah, I want to see it, but it's doubtful. Alright, and lastly, holy shit, Ubisoft's got so many games coming. Skull and Bones. This is that like pirate ship naval warfare type game, heavily inspired by Black Flag and the Assassin's Creed games. And you know what, this one's really interesting to me. We know not very much about it. We heard about March 2021 as the initial release date, but we really don't know too much. And this will be the perfect opportunity for Ubisoft to talk more about it. I know they've got 8,000 games coming, so you know, maybe there won't be any room for it at the event, but I do think they should elaborate a bit more on it and start building up some hype for it, because I think it's going to be a big game, so they should talk about it some more and give some fans a bit more clarity on this one. Alright guys, that's it for my wish list for Ubisoft Forward next week. Let me know yours. I know I missed some games because, like I said, there's 1,000 games coming from Ubisoft here in the next year and a half or so, so there's too many to mention all of them. So let me know what I missed and what are your most hyped games to learn more information about at Ubisoft Forward next week. Let me know down in the comments. I'll be excited to hear it, and I'll see you guys next time. If it's your first time, like and subscribe. See ya.